There
Yeah,
you go.
we're recording.
All right, now we're recording. So, yeah, like I said, back by popular demand because we've had a bunch of people, and by a bunch, I mean 3, ask us to start doing it, and we were finally able to get Scotty involved in this. So, this should be a hell of a lot better now. We got another perspective. For those of you guys that do remember, this is Point of Attack. I'm Dave Novak. Jason Jones is up there in the corner with the hat on, and the guy with the magnificent beard is Scotty Day. Old cat.
Hey.
Cat in America. This first video we're going to do, now that football season is back upon us, we figure we start with this upcoming draft and pretty much go from there. We each picked a
Freezing
couple
up.
players. Yeah? So you're good on my end. You say, well, we each picked a couple players that we liked or thought were going to be pretty good. And we'll start off talking about those. And then from there, we're pretty much just going to grab a couple NFC teams and try to pick the over-unders for wins and see how right we are at the end of the year. So far, we were pretty good with the teams. The past videos that Scott wasn't able to be in that me and Jones did, we went back and watched from last year and the year prior. And we were pretty on the money with a lot of these teams. So, Jonesy, why don't you start it off with who your first guy is that you like, that I know you're hoping you draft.
Shit. I don't know. It's weird for me because what we gave up, or what San Fran gave up with to get the 13th pick. I kind of hoping they go for Javon Kinlaw. I like that. I like the core that we had, and for it to be broken up like that, it's something that I want to see them replace with that pick. So hopefully that someone like Javon Kinlaw drops down, because I think Brown will probably be gone by then. Derek Brown from Auburn. If they can't get Javon Kinlaw, then I kind of would. I want Henry Ruggs. That's what I want. 4.2 guy, runs really good routes, really good hands, got a good catch radius, able to make people miss. He's good in the open field, and he adds that deep burner element that we kind of don't have at the moment. I mean, we got fast guys in Debo and Kendrick Bourne, and possibly like someone like Trent Taylor. I don't know if you know how his ankle is, but we don't have that raw speed guy that can literally take the top off the defense.
And for those that don't know, he's talking about the
two
49ers. For those that don't know, he's a 49er fan, so that's who he's talking about when he says we. He's hoping that the 49ers with the 13th pick are going to take Ruggs.
Yeah.
He's definitely a burner. I mean, we saw it in the draft. Kid ran a 4.27, and the funny thing about it was, I think I was talking to you about it, Jones. He looked like he was barely running. Like, you saw him take off, and I don't know if the kid takes 7-yard strides or what, but that was the easiest 4.27 I think I've ever seen anybody run. He looked like he was barely trying. So the kid is definitely a blazer, coming out of one of the best programs in the country too. And the thing that impressed me about that kid is the fact that, you know, he did it with 2 different quarterbacks, you know, going between Tua and the backup all season long. It's not like he was able to – obviously he's going to have some chemistry with Tua, but once that backup comes in and Tua goes down, then, you know, you can throw all that out the window. And after that point, it's literally just, you know, pure talent and his route running. And obviously he was able to do that. So, I mean, his speed was definitely impressive, but the fact that he was able to do it with multiple quarterbacks, I think was even better.
Can't teach speed.
No.
Definitely can't teach route running. And the one thing I like about, I also say the only reservation I have about him, I think he's definitely going to be a scheme fit. You kind of saw that with John Ross in Cincinnati. You know, he was another guy, came out 4.2, fast burner, but he really hasn't made a dent in the radar yet because of the team that he falls under. So, you know, if Ruggs
he's a little bit of a smaller guy.
Ruggs is small too.
Yeah, Ruggs 5'11".
They're pretty much the same size, I think.
Yeah.
Ruggs might be a little taller, but they're both under 200 pounds.
Okay.
And then they're short. Like both of them. I think Ross is about 6 feet. Ruggs is 5'11". Ruggs is definitely your Tyreek Hill clone, except a little smaller. Not as stocky as Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill thing is about 200 pounds.
It's not a bad clone to be, though. Tyreek
No,
Hill.
no.
You're going to clone somebody. That's a good clone.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, like, Tyreek Hill fell into a good organization with a good scheme that fit his play style. John Ross didn't.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to find him, but like he's in a bad situation up in Cincinnati. Like, same thing could happen with Ruggs because he doesn't have that prototypical height and weight. Like, he's definitely going to be a scheme fit. He falls into the right scheme, he's perennial Pro Bowler. If he falls into a bad scheme or scheme that doesn't fit his play style, or they have him do something that he ain't normally doing, it's gonna be a rocky start.
I like him rotating in the slot though for us with Trent Taylor, because we got Debo and Hurd is supposed to be back from his back injuries too, and he's a freak athlete. I was most excited for him when we drafted someone last year because he played running back at Tennessee, quit football, was a crybaby, and then went to Baylor, resurrected his career and played receiver and did pretty good. So, dude's a nasty athlete, big guy.
Yeah. Speaking about him, I think had he not got hurt preseason, he would have filled what basically Debo did last year, as far as like that Swiss Army knife kind of thing, catching jet sweeps and the plays out of the backfield. Like, I think that would have definitely been Hurd's niche, and also probably playing backup tight end. Because I think that's ultimately what they had in mind for him. He's a guy that can play tight end, running back.
He needs to be like a Jimmy Graham tight end, though. His hand never should be in the dirt.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably not gonna. That's not a good position for him.
I don't know, man. They've done really good at teaching receivers how to block.
It's different. It's different blocking as a receiver than blocking as a tight end, man.
Well, right now they have Ruggs ranked third among the top wide receivers coming out. So
he's behind his buddy, and then who's the other guy he's behind?
CeeDee Lamb is number one.
That's right.
So those are the two guys that are in front of him. So I think he's definitely, if that's where the 49ers choose to go at 13, he's going to be there. Because right now, as far as his overall rank that I'm looking at, that they have him going between 16 and 18. So he could be there when you draft at 13 for sure. So unless somebody's just really, really in love with him, you know what I mean, and decides to make that move and jump up early, somebody in the back half of the draft in the first round decides to move up, which I mean, we've seen people do crazier shit before. I mean, this would be crazy. I mean, we literally, 4 years ago, watched the Bears give up a bunch of first-round draft picks to jump up to number, 3, to take Trubisky, while they skipped over Mahomes and everybody when they could have sat right where they were and got Mahomes. And instead they chose to move up because they were in love with Trubisky, which, God knows why, but they were. So
San Fran played them. San Fran gave them the idea that they were going to draft Trubisky when they wanted Solomon Thomas the whole time.
Yeah, but I mean, Ruggs hand down is a ball. They have him listed at 5'11", 188. So yeah, not by no means does he have exceptional size, but he's also not a smaller slot Cole Beasley, Danny Amendola, 5'7", 175-pound kind of guy. I mean, he's got good size, and I mean, you look at him, that size right there, that's Chris Carter. So, except Chris Carter didn't run no damn 4.2. So, he's got good size. I mean, it's not like CeeDee Lamb at almost 6'3" and 200 pounds, but he's got good size for sure. He's not bad size. Yeah, that's definitely a solid pick. Who's your feature guy, Scotty?
So the one guy that I really like, but obviously we ain't gonna get him, but I like Patrick Queen out of LSU. He's one of my favorite picks. I think if he goes to the Ravens, he's gonna fit into their scheme really well, fit into their coaching staff, their culture. The only thing about him is that he's just a one-year starter, but I think he played really good football in the biggest games they played in this year. He was a huge X factor for him, and he's an angry football player. And I had a fun time watching him. I like him more than Kenneth Murray. I don't think Kenneth Murray is physical enough, even though he's bigger. He's got the prototype size. Patrick Queen, I think, is like 6 foot 230, and Kenneth Murray is like 6'2", 3. I just didn't think Murray was tough enough. You watch him in the big games, and he kind of just gets swallowed up.
Okay.
Would you say that Patrick Queen is size-wise, would say similar to someone like Chris Borland?
He's bigger. I think Chris Borland was 5'10".
Yeah, Queen goes 6 foot 230.
Yeah.
So he's got good size for an inside linebacker.
Yeah.
And
Chris Borland was a fire plug. He was like 5'10", 5'11", like 220.
I mean, he is another guy that you could get though. I mean, at 13, his rank right now, he's projected right around 24. So
yeah, I'm leaning more towards either we get the exact. I'm actually leaning more towards trading 13 out to get more picks because we have none.
No, you don't want to do that, Jones?
No. Like I mentioned, I mean, we gave up an impact player.
Yeah, because we couldn't afford to sign him with everyone else.
Well, I know the biggest thing that.
But I mean, my thing is,
you don't have another pick, right? After
we don't have a pick to like the fifth or sixth round.
Yeah, the fifth round.
So I do understand that trading back to get more picks. That does make a lot of sense.
I would trade out a 13 for a high pick in the second round, and then whatever else we can get. Because Jonesy, even if we didn't get Ruggs, you know who's another receiver that I would love to get would be the Colorado kid, Chenault.
Yeah, Laviska Chenault.
Yeah, not as fast, not nearly as fast. He's another similar to Hurd, but he's a baller. I had a lot of fun watching him, and he's another Swiss Army knife. So that means you got 3 guys that can do, different things all on the field at once. It just makes it harder to play.
Yeah, but see, I think that you can do that with the 31st pick. We can trade down, because there's always going to be somebody that wants to come back.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm just saying we can trade. We can trade the 13th if we don't absolutely love anyone, or we trade the 31st back. But I like hitting him too.
That might not be a bad move though. If you trade at a 13, move back right around 24. That way you can take Queen, and you get a guy that you need at a position you need, and you're able to pick up more picks, second, third round, whatever it may be. So you don't have that huge, 120 guy gap in between you taking a player and then taking another player. That's not a terrible idea to do that. And I mean, the only thing I'm curious about with Queen is I know what was his buddy Jacob Phillips, the other linebacker from LSU, who is also, I know he's a high prospect as well. So you got I'm kind of wondering, does he need that guy next to him to?
Well, we got Fred Warner. We got Fred Warner, man.
Okay.
Fred Warner is going to turn into a little bit of a superstar, I think, here soon. He's a very athletic linebacker. He can do it all.
My only thing is it really a position of need though? Because I mean, you got Greenlaw, you got Quan Alexander, and Fred
I wouldn't be drafting a linebacker. I would, if anything, on defense, we're either drafting a corner, first, and then D-line, and then safety.
Well, shit, at 13, I mean, you can pick up.
I don't know. Like we
a good one.
We can get Delpit. We can get Xavier McKinney. We trade if you're going to trade down from 13.
I mean, aside from Okudua, or however you say his name, Okuda.
Jeff Okuda.
He's projected to go to top 10. The next corner is not supposed to come off the board till right around 18, and that's Henderson. Yep. And so, I mean, you could easily, at 13, get the second best corner on the board. And honestly, I mean, I personally, I don't know how much you're giving up in between the two. I mean, one plays for Ohio State, the other one played for Florida. So
I also like the Fulton kid from LSU.
Yeah, I like him too. He's rangy. But you also have Trayvon Diggs from Bama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I mean he's projected to go late in the first round, like 22nd. So
yeah, you got Clemson's corner too.
Yeah,
Terrell.
I've been telling this to a lot of people. I can't remember a draft in a long time that I feel like damn near every position is like 5 deep with really, really good talent. So, I mean, this is the one draft that it's not like, you know, it's real quarterback heavy or, you know, lineman heavy. It's just like I feel like every position, there's a lot of really good guys coming out. So, you know, moving up, moving back, I think you can do that. And not this is the one year you don't have to worry about, you know, moving back and possibly missing on a guy because it's like 5 deep at every position. So, you know, you could be pretty well off moving back, picking up picks and still getting, you know, the guy you need. And especially like I was saying for the 49ers, you guys are 7 minutes away from winning the Super Bowl. So the personnel that you have there right now is obviously very good. So I don't think there's a specific position that you're like, oh, we have to fill this hole. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You guys didn't lose any big names in free agency, right?
I mean, Buckner, but
yeah, that was that one was a head scratch to me. Yeah, Buckner, but
why didn't we give up Armstead?
Yeah,
I'd rather give up
because we wouldn't have gotten the 13th pick, Jonesy. Think about it.
Yeah, but
they didn't have to pay him $21 million.
Yeah.
And we got a 13th pick. It was the best of the best. And if they did that, that means that they like Armstead more to balance with
But did you like
Bosa?
Watching them, did you actually like Armstead more than Buckner?
Well, they played different positions.
No, they played the same position.
No,
they're gonna put Armstead at DN opposite of Bosa, and then bring D Ford in just for passing situations. They were playing Buckner more as a D tackle.
Because I feel like Armstead did have obviously a very good year, but I feel like Buckner has showed the more consistency since he's gotten there every year, you know? So I hope they just didn't fall in love with that. Like, all right, well, look at how good he was. He's only going to get better and better and better. So that's why they, you know, were willing to get rid of Buckner, because Buckner has shown, you know, since he got in the league that, you know, he's going to his 4th season. He's been pretty baller for 4 years now.
I mean, it was like 3 sacks his first year, 6 sacks his second year, went 12 and a half.
Yeah.
The third year, and then 7.5 this past year. I mean, that dude. And I think the only reason his sacks was down last year is because they made a conscious decision, like, we don't want him on the field that much. You got to take him off the field. Because I think he was on the field for like 80-some% of the defensive snaps in 2018. And they didn't like that because they were saying that he was getting burnt out towards the end of the season.
All right, so back to Queen. What's his strength and weaknesses?
So I would say strength for Queen would be his athleticism and instincts. Weaknesses would just be play time, and I would say he's a little undersized in the NFL to play middle linebacker. He probably needs to put on just a little bit of weight.
Yeah, probably. 15 pounds would be all right.
Yeah, you're not talking a lot. And then just it's not a weakness, but it's a question football IQ. I mean, he played in, you know, arguably the best conference, one of the 2 best conferences in football, but he only played for a year, right? So it just depends on his study habits, how hard he works in the off seasons, and, you know, how well he learns football. But his instincts, you know, you just can't coach those. His first 2 steps are just lightning.
And that 1 year that he only played 1 year, but it was a really, really good year. I mean,
he had a really good year.
Down.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he had a really good year on a really good defense for the best team in college football. So
yeah, and best team all around too. And I mean, granted, you know, most people are going to say LSU was so dominant because, you know, with Joe Burrow just absolutely going buck wild and setting every damn record there is for a college quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, that defense, I don't think people gave that defense the credit they deserve for shutting down the teams that they did and keeping them, you know, under what they usually score. I mean, they did not. I don't think they got the credit that they deserve for that. And they were an extremely good defense at every level. So, yeah, I said that this year's LSU team, I mean, I put them right up against any other college team I've seen in the past 20 years. They were that friggin' good.
So, Jonesy, why do you want to draft a wide receiver when we got 3 guys coming back from injury? So why would you want to – I don't want to say waste, but why would you want to use the 13th pick on a wide receiver when we have bigger holes?
He's still upset about not taking Metcalf last year.
That I am. No, but honestly, like, seriously though, if Javon Kinlaw is in there, I definitely want to go with the best player available. Being that like we were talking about, we got the 13th pick because we traded away impact player. So I don't want to trade out of the 13th pick. If I can get someone like Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb or Ruggs and potentially lock in a possible like surefire, like I'll say 1A receiver, because I think Deebo Samuel will become a number 1 receiver in the league.
So we got Deebo, we got Pettis coming back from injury. You got Goodwin still, Trent Taylor, and Hurd. So we got 5 guys that I would say should contribute next year. So you want to add a 6th guy and then put one of those guys already there on the practice squad?
Well, you're only going to carry 5. You're not going to carry 6 wide receivers.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think one. I think Marquise Goodwin is gone. I think we're going to let him go.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't think we're letting him go. Pettis, I think, is a fringe player. We might end up trading him because, I mean, he's been on the team for like 3 years, and I think he had that one little short flash in the pan. I think it was like the late 2017 season before he fell into the doghouse again. So I'm not sure. I think his position and his status on the team is kind of in limbo.
I'd rather get Kinlaw than a receiver, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Kinlaw I want to replace Buckner. And when you got Derek Brown, who I can see possibly falling if you got teams that are reaching, especially like, say if Miami jumps up to 3 to try to get, Tua, then I can see Dave Brown actually coming down to us, or definitely Javon Kinlaw. To me, the one thing I like about Javon Kinlaw is he reminds me of Aldon Smith in a defensive tackle's body. I mean, great physical upper body strength, really long arms, 6'6". I mean, I think his conditioning might be a little bit of a question, but
he's a fatty. Their conditioning is always a question. They haven't played.
But you brought Aldon Smith back.
No. He is a solid 314 though. When you look at that dude, he doesn't look like he ain't Cortez Kennedy. 300.
He looked like oh God, I can't remember. There was a lineman like 5 years ago, offensive tackle, who looked like a bodybuilder when they took his shirt off, and he was like 6'6", 320. Can't remember saying.
Yeah, I mean Javon Kinlaw's like frame is similar, and he's got that ability. He's got real good. Like what they say about Bosa, he can transition power or speed to power. Like he blows people up. Like he doesn't. It's not necessarily a finesse thing or just a wearing them out. Like his hand technique needs to be worked on a little bit. Like he's got a good punch. He's got heavy hands, but I think I've seen from like film in a couple of games I watched, especially when North Carolina, the Tar Heels played the Gamecocks. Like you can get your hands into his body and it kind of disrupts him a little bit. But when he plays with good pad level and he actually comes through, like you're not stopping that guy. That guy literally.
I feel you.
All right.
All right, Dave. Who are your guys?
I'll start on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm going to go with, the key position, QB. And I'm going to highlight Jacob Eason, who is the 5th-ranked guy on mostly everybody's big board. There's a couple guys here and there that, may have him at 4 or whatever, but for the most part, they have him at 5. And I'm kind of scratching my head about why. I couldn't figure out. I watched a bunch of his film from last year at Washington, and I feel like behind Burrows, he is the most pro-ready quarterback I've seen. First off, he's got prototypical size. I mean, the kid is an absolute monster. He's 6'6", 230.
Did you see him at the combine though?
Yeah.
He looked like he had a dad bod.
Yeah, he does. But you know what? I could care less what his body looks
No,
like.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
I mean,
I
could be.
but like, it's always a little bit to me when you look at someone and you just go, you don't even look like an athlete.
Look at Brady.
Like
Though.
he didn't look like an athlete at that.
You
No,
remember
I know.
Brady?
I'm saying.
Like,
Don't get me wrong.
I agree with you. I would like
Yeah,
if he would have taken off his shirt and been an Adonis, but yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah, he
I
didn't.
think that would have scared most people. But
Yeah, he definitely
I
didn't
think
look.
it definitely.
But this kid was, well, he is 6'6", 230. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of friggin' high school. As a true freshman, he chose to go to Georgia, and he started as a true freshman at Georgia. He was a starter there, and he went 10-3 with the Bulldogs, and they were really, really good. And that first year with the Bulldogs, he threw for 2,400 yards and 16 touchdowns, and they were mostly they were pretty well balanced, but they were mostly a running team at that time. And then he comes out his sophomore year and blows his knee out in the very first game, and then loses his job to Jake Fromm. And right when they made that transition, he decided, like, screw it, I'm going back to Washington. And once he went back to Washington, because that's where he's actually from, he joined a Washington Husky team that, I mean, let's be honest, how often is Washington, like, stellar, But the year before he got there, they were, they weren't a good team. They were a 4-win team. And he went 8-5 with them. And the thing was that impressed me, even though the record doesn't, he doesn't have a lot of wins. He didn't have a whole lot of people around him, to make him good. But he still threw for 3,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, single-digit interceptions. And he definitely lacks the experience because he's only got 2 full years in college because he got hurt his sophomore year. So, he plays 1 year in Washington as a junior, and now he's going to go into the draft. And, he put up good numbers on a bad team, and 3 of their 5 losses came to top 10 teams. They lost to USC, Oregon, and Utah, all when they were ranked in the top 10 is when he lost them. But he didn't lose by more than 3 points to any of those teams. They were all like 34-31 kind of games. So he kept his team right in there against, some of the best teams in the country. And, and like you said at the Combine, he ran a 4.8 40, which I don't even know why QBs run the goddamn 40 unless you're like a Michael Vick and you just want to show, like, I'm a dual threat. But, 4.8. So he showed that he's got a little bit of speed if he needs to break out of the pocket. But that actually I had as one of his weaknesses watching him throw. When he's under duress, he struggles a little bit. When he gets time, he's able to make a full field read. And when he doesn't, he kind of does panic, and his reads go from full field to like half field. And not only that, watching tape, I noticed his eyes drop, which we all know is, once you're on the move and your eyes drop, you're in trouble. Then you can't see the field, and that's when you start making mistakes. Some of the pro analysts said that they didn't like the fact that he took as many sacks and got rid of the ball. And I've never been one of those guys. Yes, I don't want you taking sacks. If you can get rid of it, obviously get rid of it. But I would much rather see you eat the ball and take a sack than try and get rid of it and not throw it in the right spot, and then it gets picked. So I don't necessarily see that as a weakness, and that's something that can be coached out of you. So, the biggest thing is he's got a real big arm. He's prototypical. He is extremely accurate, and he showed that at the draft. And now at the Combine, and granted, at the Combine is where you should be 100% accurate. You're in shorts. Everybody else is in shorts. You got no rush. Every ball should be on the money, which it was. So, I'm going to use that as a strength. He absolutely has the accuracy because damn well if he went out during that and he was missing throws and they were behind him, they would sure say it was a weakness. But when it works and he's accurate, they don't use it as a strength because they're like, oh, well, he's not wearing pads. But I'm like, yeah, but if he was missing the throws, you sure would have brought it up. So I don't want your gifts, Zoom. Zoom's offering me gifts. So that's his biggest thing. Levels. He can throw at the levels that we talked about and make those pro throws, those deep outs, 25-yard outs. He can make those big-time throws that you need to be able to make as a pro. And when he has the protection, he's good at holding defenders with his eyes, which if you go back and you watch the Utah game, he did that a lot. He was very good about holding the defenders with his eyes and then coming back across the field and throwing the opposite way because his wide receivers definitely needed help getting open. So I like the kid. I think he's really, really good. I actually had him as my number 2 ranked quarterback out of all these guys. I had him ahead of Tua and ahead of Justin Herbert just because when I put
where would you have him get drafted?
I think he's actually going to go to New England, which is scary to me. But I think that's where he's going to wind up going. They have him going late first round, early second round. And I think Bill Belichick, being the kind of guy he is, will look at him and realize that the weaknesses that he does have, and he does have some weaknesses that you're like, he does kind of have a longer setup. And like I said, he drops his eyes, and his escapability isn't great. But I feel like almost those are all the exact same things that were the knock on Tom Brady as well. So under Belichick, if he could go to a team like that, I think he could be extremely successful because he's got all the other things that you need to be successful. He's got the big arm, he's got the size, and he's actually got a very high football IQ too. That was one thing. He's very, very smart, and I know you can't take a lot away from things that happen at the combine, but the Wonderlic test that they make everybody take. Kid scored a 44 out of a 50, I
think another good place for him to go would be Indy and sit behind what's his name for a year.
Rivers.
Yep.
Yep.
I think Indy would be a good spot for him too.
Yeah, I think that's a very good fit for him. But I do like the fact that he made a poor team better. He won the Orange Bowl.
Yep.
So and he was able to beat some good teams on a very below average team. I think you put any other quarterback or whoever their quarterback was before he got there on that team, and they're probably a 5-win team. So he actually, was able to make a very, very mediocre team not bad. And, for a couple of weeks there, they got ranked and then fell out of the rankings, and then they got to the meat of their schedule. They played some ranked teams. That was it. They fell out of the ranking. But, yeah, I'm very, very high on this kid. Watching him at the combine, he's got great feet. He's got good hip movement. He throws the ball really well. He's a smart kid. And he goes to the right team, and he could be one of those guys that they're talking about in 5 years, like, wow, how did, 25 teams pass on this kid? But when pro analysts say that, you're the 5th ranked QB in a very deep QB draft, and we know that they can put a top 5 there. Out of that top 5, maybe 2 will actually become legit franchise guys, and then there'll probably be one that no one even talked about that will wind up being there as well. And they had him as a 6.8 prospect rating. I don't know if you guys know how the NFL does their rating prospect, 8 being the very highest you can be. 8 is like, oh my God, this kid's going to be a freaking Hall of Famer. And then they had a rating system.
What did Chase Young get then?
Chase Young was 7.4, almost perfect.
Was he the highest rated guy?
Joe Burrows was 7.8. Anything
it's
above
a little scary.
Anything above 6.2 is considered a day one starter and a franchise guy. So, yeah.
I would have Chase Young and Isaiah Simmons rated higher than Burrow.
Isaiah Simmons is a freak. His speed was something ridiculous. How do you run a
Isaiah Simmons is going to be
like what?
Yeah, he's going to be the modern day fucking Ronnie Lott for wherever he goes to play.
That high on him, huh? I think
so, man.
You think he's better than Bosa when he came out last year?
It's hard to tell because I think it's.
What are we talking about? You talking about Isaiah Simmons, or are you talking about
Young? Young. Do you think?
Young?
Yeah, you think Young's better than Bosa?
I don't know. I didn't watch. It's hard. It's hard. So like I didn't get to watch a lot of Nick Young this year, but the games that I did watch, like the Penn State game, at the end of the game when Penn State was tired, nobody blocked Nick Young, or could. Just like he was in the backfield 4 or 5 plays in a row. I still think he's a freak, but I don't know. I just didn't watch enough film on him, so we'll see.
Okay. All right. Jonesy, who else you got? Who's your number 2?
LSU's Delpit.
Okay.
I like him at safety. He's
Can't
one of those
argue
guys.
with some hard data point like that. I like him. All right.
He's rangy. He's got really good ball skills. He's not afraid to hit. Actually, watching a couple of his highlight films and watching him in a couple of games, like he's one of those guys. Like I've actually seen him wrap people up. I think the only time he doesn't wrap is when he took a bad angle and he's trying to adjust and just get a good hit on you. Is the only time I really don't see him actually wrap you. Like, but a lot of his tackles were like straight tackles. It wasn't. You can tell he's the type of guy. He ain't looking for that ESPN highlight hit stick, kind of tackle. Like he's literally trying to tackle to stop you. I know that one of his.
So he actually tackles the way you're supposed to.
Right, and I think one of his. I think him going to the NFL is going to help him out a little bit because, in like my opinion, he was playing like extremely fast. He was playing faster than the college game. I think when he goes to the pros, it'll actually catch up to him. And a lot of plays where he's out of position because he over pursues or he like overestimates a little bit. Those kind of judgment calls for him are actually going to be spot on, and he won't be in such bad positions where he misses tackles. I think a lot of his missed tackles too is because he tries to be everywhere. That dude is always Johnny on the spot, like for that defense. I mean, he literally can play sideline to sideline from back deep center field into the other guy's backfield. Like he pops up from just about anywhere and everywhere.
What kind of numbers he put up at the combine?
Shoot, I'm not sure that I missed. I couldn't really find him. Like I don't know if he didn't run the 40 and he just did like bench press and all that stuff, which it's not something that I look at.
Okay.
But
I know he goes 6'2", 215, so he's got very good size for safety.
Yeah, and to me, he's the opposite of what like Eric Reed. He actually kind of reminds me more of a Earl Thomas type. Because like I said, he's rangy, he's not afraid to hit, and he can make good plays on the ball. Like, he has really good instincts when it comes to batting down the balls and getting the balls. Okay. He was captain of the defense. I mean, he's one of those guys that, he kept like Stingley and Fulton, all those guys like communicating, always keeping them in the right position. He was a smart kid.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was, he's an All-American on, one of the best defenses in the country. So, I mean, he was definitely exceptional.
And I think he's the one that ran it. I mean, like, that's one of the things that, like in interviews with other players, they all agree, like, Delpit was the one guy that kept them all in the game, kept them motivated, make sure they were in the right spots, stuff like that. I think he also, with his play, with being that he was so rangy, guys like Fulton and Stingley were able to make riskier, position plays on the ball because, you got a ball hawk in your backfield. So I think he's definitely going to be a game changer. He might be, your Eric Berry, Earl Thomas type once in a while thing, provided he goes into a good system. Like I said, I mean, granted, you taking the fact that he came from LSU, you have the top tier everything. You go to a team like, with no defensive line, and you're covering a guy for 3 or 4 seconds, and you never know. But
he's a projected 36 pick in the draft, so if it stays that way, he's going to be an early second round guy. So
I've seen him go higher though. I've seen him actually go in like the 20s.
I mean, who knows? He could go. I mean, that could be somebody Cincinnati winds up grabbing with their friggin' second pick, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be beneficial if he went to in the late first round. That way he goes to a halfway decent team to begin with, and he's not going to a team that's, you know, rebuilding. And, you know, 90% of those teams that are drafted in the, you know, first 10 spots of the draft, there's a reason. It's because they were bad, you know? And I hate to see really good talent go to poor teams, which happens 90% of the time. It's kind of one of the things that sucks about being a highly touted player is, you know, you're going to wind up friggin', you know, somewhere you probably don't want to be unless you have a team that just, you know, got bit by the injury bug the year before and then happened to get a low draft pick and they're actually a really good team that, you know, the quarterback got knocked out or something. You're going to a bad team. But I agree, Grant Delpit is a friggin' he's a beast. And I mean, I'll piggyback on that. The next guy that I was going to talk about was Xavier McKinney, who is, you know, another safety. And he doesn't have quite the size as Delpit. He's 6'1", 210. So he doesn't have quite that size. But, you know, same thing. He's a first-team All-American. And he ran a 4.5 at the combine, which is good speed. You know, it's not blazing fast, but his shuttle time was outstanding. So, you know, he had a 2.79 shuttle time. So the kid can move inside that 20-yard box. This is where, you know, I'm going to need him to be. And he's got decent strength, you know, 19 reps, 225. So, you know, he's got good strength. He is a hitter. You watch film on him, the kid will fill the gap in a heartbeat. He is not scared to come up and clear the A gap. Plus, I like the way he can come off the edge. I mean, we're talking about a safety that had 5 sacks last year, which is, you know, that's more than a lot of DNs had. So, you know, the kid can definitely come off the edge. It takes really, really good angles. He had the most tackles on Alabama, too. You know, kid had 95 tackles, which is saying a lot because you watch Alabama play, not a lot of guys are getting to that second level. So it's not like their linebackers and stuff were terrible. He's coming up and he's filling holes to make these tackles. So, you know, he had 4 forced fumbles, 95 tackles. One of the downsides on Xavier McKinney, unfortunately, he doesn't have great hands. He only had 3 picks last year, and it probably should have been 7. But he does not have great hands. That's one thing he's definitely going to have to work on. If he could get great hands, the kid could have twice as many interceptions as he does because he does get in there. He bats balls down. He's really versatile too. He matches up well in any scheme. He's the kind of safety I feel like you don't really have to take him off the field. You know, he can play every single down. He can match up against tight ends, wide receivers, slot guys. He's got speed to run with the outside wide receivers and the strength to play with tight ends. So he's super versatile. And his change of direction, I was real impressed with the way he rolls his hips. He can go either way. His feet are always under him, stable. Like he's got really good feet, good change of direction. He reads the QB's eyes pretty well. That's one thing I noticed too. He can read their eyes when they showed footage from behind, wherever the quarterback is looking. You know, he's always starting to fade that way, and he's good at recognizing the routes and letting everybody else know what's probably coming. And he actually was Alabama's defensive captain, and he was calling out the plays. So he's got a very high IQ, and he's definitely a ball hawk. He's always around the ball. The weaknesses with him, though, the biggest problem is he does get lost in cover 2, which is kind of a known thing. It was something that I had heard Mel Kiper and Todd McShay talking about, and they showed film of it. Cover 2, he kind of struggles with. Not really sure why, but cover 2. And he actually said in an interview too, a bad thing about him, he will get bored while he's playing, and he will try and bait QBs, and instead of pressing the wide receiver, he will leave them a little open, and sometimes he gets burned because of it, because he did give up 2 big touchdowns in big games because he got caught cheating, and they made his ass pay for it. So, you know, that's something that's definitely going to have to change because you're obviously going to have to stay patient. And when he gets impatient and starts baiting, you can't do that in the NFL. You will get murdered quickly. You know what I mean? Because as he thinks he's baiting the quarterback, the wide receiver is actually trying to bait him too. So, you get into this match, you don't know who's baiting who, and next thing you know, the guy's 30 yards downfield on him. So he's definitely gonna have to get away from that and try and stay patient. And he needs to recognize screens and rub routes a little better. There was a lot of times where he's coming up to fill the hole, and then instead of taking the right angle and running through, the pulling lineman, he halts and kind of waits and lets them come to him. He's got to make faster reads and decide where he's going faster because, we know that split second that it takes to decide, the guy's already on him, and then he can't get him off him. So he's got to get better with rub routes. But I think Xavier McKinney's an absolute monster. First team All-American, 3-year starter at Bama. The kid is, he's absolutely pro ready. He's got great size. He's a hitter. And, he's projected to go right around where Dallas Cowboys are picking, and God knows they can use a safety. So that could be where he very well winds up. You look at a lot of the mock drafts, that's where he's going. So I think that's going to be it. What do you got, Scotty? I know you had a QB.
I had Herbert, and the reason I picked him is that I think he's the riskiest one to pick. Besides, I don't think Jordan Love should be mentioned in it at all, but that's just my opinion. I think that Herbert's going to be the highest risk, highest reward guy out there, and that's because of what he struggles with. He struggles with big games and accuracy, and if you struggle with that, you usually don't ever make it in the NFL. So wherever he goes, if he sits, he might have an opportunity to be successful, but if he's forced to play, I think the media and then just the bad games are just going to eat him up, and he's just going to get lost in the sauce in the NFL. I don't see him being a day one starter and actually doing well at all.
Is that on any team?
Pretty much. Well, we say any team, he's going to go in the top 6 or whatever it is, right? So you're looking at the teams that are going to get him. More than likely, the Chargers get him, which I think he could be successful if he stays and doesn't start, and they actually just go, hey, we're going to take Tyrod Taylor and let him start for the whole year, or if they're out of any playoff race or whatever it is, you get Herbert in there and let him start the last, 2 to 4 games of the year to get some experience. But I like Ken Wisenhunt, but he's an old school dude, and you got to get a newer guy in there for Herbert because of his athletic ability, I think.
And it's crazy. You mentioned his athletic ability. For him to have that kind of ability at that size, because he's another guy that's 6'6".
He's like a Cam Newton. He's not nearly as physical as a runner, but he's gifted athletically like that.
Yeah, he's probably about 25 pounds lighter because he's only 230, and Cam probably goes about 260. But he's 6'6", 230, and so he's a very big kid. But I saw his projections at 12 right now.
I see him going. The ones I'm looking at say he's going to the Chargers.
Yeah, okay. Which to me, I think it would be a real good role because Tyrod Taylor is that kind of dual threat quarterback also. So he's one of the guys, and I think from what I understand, he's a good guy. So I think he's one of those guys that would probably take him under the wing, try to coach him up a little bit. Because I'm pretty sure Tyrod Taylor is aware, basically he's on borrowed time. So but to learn from him and try to pick his brain a little bit.
They definitely need to draft a quarterback if Tyrod is their plan A. You're going to need a plan B if he's your plan A.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he just needs to sit. He just needs to sit, go there. Kind of do what Patrick Mahomes did, right? Sat, got some playing time at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Then they feel comfortable enough, good to go. So we'll see.
Well, we've discussed this numerous times, Scott, that I think every quarterback, I don't care how pro-ready you are or how good you were in college, I think every quarterback that gets a chance to sit behind a very, very good QB for a year or two always has a better chance at excelling. Like I feel like that year, at least 1 year, to get used to the game speed, the way the plays are called, the new schemes. Because I mean, and everybody has said it before, like NFL is so much faster and everything is so much more advanced. And
so like
one read.
Yeah, I agree. So like, but if he goes to the Chargers, think about what he's going to be doing for 17 weeks. He's going to be running the scout offense against fucking Bosa, Melvin Ingram, Derwin James, Perryman at linebacker, like Hayward at corner. He's not going against scrubs either. So if he's able to get better, learn the game from those monsters, he's going to do all right.
Exactly. Yeah. And that year just to learn, I think, it can only help. It's definitely not going to hurt you. And you look at most of the top quarterbacks in the league right now, all of them sat when they came in the league. You look at the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers and, all the top guys all got to sit for a year and learn and then get thrown to the wolves. There's very few quarterbacks that get thrown to the wolves that have longevity and are really, really good out the gate. And even the ones that did get thrown to the wolves, it took them 2 or 3 years to get a grasp of that NFL. And, even Peyton Manning, you look at Peyton Manning's rookie year, it was a goddamn nightmare. I mean, he had a terrible rookie campaign. And then 3 years later, the guy won 12 games. So even, Hall of Fame QBs, when they first start out and they get thrown to the wolves, very few have that kind of success, right off the bat. So, yeah, Justin, I guess definitely high reward. And, guys got to be licking their chops looking at him, though, because, 6'6", 230, that's Peyton Manning. That's the size you want. You want that big body that can see over the line with the big arm. And,
because his arm talent minus accuracy is everything you would want. Dude makes every throw. Watching him throw the football at the combine was the silliest thing I've seen in a while. It looked like he was doing it with his eyes closed, half asleep. Like, this is dumb. He just threw 60-yard bomb. This is dumb. Oh, he just put it on a laser on a rope for a 25-yard out. It's like, come on.
Yeah, watching him, I'd say the two guys at the combine that the balls exploded off their hands was Eason and him. They have such a whip that it's ridiculous. It looks effortless for them. Yeah, I think all those guys are going to wind up being, obviously they're all going to be probably first rounders. I think maybe Delpit's the only guy that slips into the second, but I'd be surprised if he even makes it into the second round. So I mean, most of these guys are probably going to be first round picks, and like everything else, it's all going to depend on what team they go to, what schemes they're running, who the coach is, and a little bit of luck. That matters. Like,
yeah,
that definitely matters. I hate when people are always talking about that. A guy goes in or like, oh, he was phenomenal in college and he got the pros and he was just a bust. And I'm like, not every single one of those guys is a bust. Some of them just went into very bad circumstances. Like, you're going to tell me the 27 quarterbacks that the Browns have drafted between like the year 2000 and right now, you tell me every single one of them was a bust? Like, no. Some of them just they had no line, they had no wide receivers, their coaching was poor. Like, they needed more around him. I think you could have taken Joe Montana in his prime and put him on the Browns end, and he probably would have struggled too, because you can't throw from your back. It's pretty hard. I've tried. You can't get anything on the ball when you're laying on the ground. It's hard. It just doesn't work. So who you got NFC? Who's going to be the top of the NFC this year? We'll just go each division. Start with your division. Go NFC West. Who wins the NFC West?
I take my team again.
Okay.
Niners. I don't think it's going to be – I think it's going to be a closer one, though. I think it's going to be –
How much closer could it be? It came down to the last play, the last fucking game.
Well, that wasn't for the division, though.
Yeah, it was.
That was for the division.
That was for the division.
Yeah, whoever won the division
and
got the number 2 spot.
I was talking more record. I think the wins are going to be closer. I don't think we're going to be up there in the 12 wins again this year.
Okay. So
I think we're going to be more at that 10, 11 win season, and I think that the Seahawks are going to be up there again as well.
Yeah, I mean, well coached. I don't think they lost a whole lot whole lot of talent either. So they should be pretty good. Here's a good one. The NFC South.
I still think the Saints take it.
I agree, 100%.
I think the Saints take it. I think obviously the Bucks are going to do much better. I put the Bucks probably around the 9-10 win, 10-win area. I put the Saints. So the Saints were the only team in the NFC I put above 10 wins.
Okay.
I put them at 12 wins. I think that they didn't lose anything. They made really good moves in free agency, and I.
So if that's the case, there's a very good chance you're thinking only one team comes out of the South then.
I think. Let me look, too, because it's 7 teams this year as well.
Yeah. One extra.
No, so I'll go 2 out of my division, 2 out of the South, and then.
So who's your other team out of the South? You don't think Carolina getting Bridgewater, they can make any noise?
Fuck no, they got Matt Rule as the coach.
Okay.
So I think it's Niners,
They got
Seahawks.
McCaffrey. They got McCaffrey.
Yeah, they had McCaffrey last year, who had one of the best seasons in history, and they won 5 games.
Yeah. What are you talking about, Jonesy? The Lions also had Barry Sanders, and look what they fucking did.
Hey, they did. People always forget that. They went to the playoffs a lot when he was there. They just couldn't get out of the first round.
Yeah. Still, that means they did nothing.
They were still winning their division. They just couldn't get out of the damn fucking first round. They kept running into Dallas.
Yeah. I got Saints, Bucks, Niners, Seahawks. That's 4. I got the Cowboys winning your division. I got the Packers winning theirs. And then the last team, I probably, just because I don't like Kirk Cousins, and I think that without Diggs and
I think they're gonna regress. I don't have Minnesota.
Yeah, I probably go with the Eagles.
Okay.
So I think that the NFC North is the only division that puts one team in.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for your division for the West, I'd agree with you. I think San Fran probably wins the division again, and by a game or something. It's going to be a tight race all the way down again because you're both like fucking mirror images of each other. They're just very, very tough, and just divisional games. I don't care how good. It's like you both could be 2-win teams. For some reason, when you play each other, it's still one of the hardest goddamn games you play. So I love watching that. That's one of my favorite games to watch. Is actually the 49ers in Seattle. It's always an entertaining game. It's a good game, and the way you guys are playing now with that defense and Jimmy G, I still think is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. I mean, how in the offseason are you talking about possibly trading this kid to the Patriots for Tom Brady? Like, are you out of your mind? Like, this kid.
I think that was just people bored.
Yeah, are you crazy? So
that was the pre-onset of the coronavirus.
Yeah. I'd agree with you with your division. The North, I think the Packers again, because the Bears are just a train wreck. They just can't put it together. And as long as Trubisky is still part of that offense, they're in trouble. He just turns it over too much and puts them in bad situations. And Detroit, unfortunately, they really can't get over the hump. And it seems like everything you read, the players hate Matt Patricia. Like, they really don't like that guy. They are not behind him. So when you got a team that's not behind your coach, you're in trouble. So I think the Packers run away with that division too. Minnesota, I think, is going to regress as well because, like you said, they lost Diggs. Who knows what Thielen is going to be? And I'm pretty sure didn't Kyle Rudolph leave as well?
I don't think he left.
Still a free agent. All right.
They lost their safeties on defense.
Yeah, that's how.
Dejo and I can't remember Johnson.
Didn't they lose your Rhodes too?
Yeah, they lost Rhodes and Waynes. Trey Waynes left.
Oh yeah. Huh.
So they lost both corners.
Yeah,
and they lost their DN.
Yeah, Trey Waynes went to Cincy. So yeah, the East. I actually for the first time in a while, I'm going to take the Cowboys to win that division too, and I think they're an 11-win team.
Yeah, I put you guys at 10 wins, and I firmly believe it's 10 wins too.
Okay. So, a 9-win team last year, I think just getting a new coaching regime, Mike McCarthy, is good for 2 more wins because there were games that we lost last year that were literally like lost because of coaching. So just getting that in there. And with the Dak situation, again, he's going to have to play for his money because we were smart and didn't give him the king's ransom that he's asking for because it's just silly. The guy does not deserve $40 million a year. You're out of your damn mind. So,
I agree, but I also don't agree with the amount of money you gave Cooper, but that's just me.
No, I agree. I agree 100% with that. The only thing that I'm like, at least it is backloaded and we can actually get out of it in 4 years. So
yeah.
that's the one good thing. And
I think you needed to sign him, but yeah, he bamboozled y'all.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I think the Cowboys will be improved. Defense is still a big problem. My secondary is still a big problem. Picking up HaHa Clinton-Dix was I think it was a great move. Plus it was dirt cheap. We got him on a 1-year deal for $3 million. You can't beat that. I was fine with letting Byron Jones go because I don't know.
Did you see? I still don't understand the amount of money he got.
$80 million for 5 years. Like, I don't know what Miami was thinking when they saw that. They literally $18 million a year, like, are 50 guaranteed. This guy did nothing. I don't like what film were they watching? But yeah. So like you said, the South, I'm still with you 100%. I don't care if Tom Brady went to the Bucs or not. I'm still taking New Orleans in that division, hands down. And I think probably Tampa Bay is right behind him because I have absolutely no faith in Atlanta, their coaching staff, their quarterback, any of that. I still think they're the one thing I'm shocked most about with Atlanta, when they got Dan Quinn as a coach, I thought he was at least going to change the culture and make them a physical team. Like where he came from, I thought they were going to be a hard-nosed physical football team, and they are not. They are soft. So, yeah, I have absolutely no faith in Atlanta whatsoever. I wish Atlanta would do Julio Jones a favor and just trade him. That way, give the guy a goddamn chance, because he's not going to do anything in Atlanta. So, yeah, the South is definitely going to be won by New Orleans, and then that just leaves. No, that's it, right? West, South. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, so my prediction will be a little bit different then.
Shocker there. Always is.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, I mean, I got San Fran winning the West.
Go through your division winners first, and then you do your 3 additional playoff teams.
All right, so San Fran winning the West, Cowboys the East, the Packers in the North, and then, I got New Orleans winning the South.
So that's the same.
Okay, that's the same.
Hmm?
I think the West puts 2 teams in. Seattle gets in, and I think Arizona gets in. Reason being,
so you mean 3 teams from the West?
Yeah, 3 teams from the West. I think Arizona gets in. I think
Arizona.
Huh?
Arizona?
I put Arizona at 8/9 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just because I think Kyle Murray gets a little bit better. They fucking stole DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans, stole them. Like, they just said, here, we're going to give you a piece of shit. And
we're going to give you nothing, and you're going to give us him.
And the one thing that kind of piqued me about Arizona is that if you looked at how San Fran played in 2018 and then the way they played in 2019, I want to say Arizona's on that cusp also. Like, San Fran lost a lot of close games. They couldn't put anything together offensively, but they would manage the way to kind of keep the games close. They lost by like 6 points, 3 points. And then all of a sudden
Arizona's defense isn't too shabby.
No, and that's my point. And then you add Hopkins along with the scheme that kind of meshed together with Kenyon Drake, and then you still got Fitzy and Kirk. I mean, like,
who's their tight end? No name? Nobody?
Seals. like Ricky Jones.
Oh
Seals.
yeah. Ricky
But I
Jones Seals.
want to say, didn't they get Hayden Hurst? I think they did. I think they got the tight end from Baltimore when they traded.
I don't know if it was them. I have it. My computer just died.
They have
I don't
Max.
know. Look at.
They have Max Williams at tight end.
No, the Falcons traded for that guy because Austin Hooper left him.
Yeah.
So the Ravens traded Hayden Hurst to the Falcons for a second round or whatever it was.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm looking, and I think with the DB class being kind of deep in the like linebacker, they can plug some holes with this draft. And then when you look at, especially, and I'll use them as an example because they were the number one team. When you look how Arizona played San Francisco, both games were tight. Like, basically, we stole the first game in Arizona, and it came out. Like, I mean, it took almost a stellar second half from Jimmy G to actually win the second game because, I mean, they jumped on San Fran real fast. And that's without someone like Dustin Hopkins or DeAndre Hopkins to be worried about. So
You give me the best receiver in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Now Fitz doesn't have to be a true number one. Line his ass up in the slot. Let him bitch around little slot corners. Man.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Their wide receiving core is vicious. I mean,
don't they have J.J. Brown or a different one? Not the one on the.
You know who they actually had that I really like is Andy Isabella.
Yes.
Receiver. That kid's good. He could be a perfect slot guys for them.
Not to mention, I mean, he's a game wrecker. Like, you give him a lane, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's not catching that guy.
No. I said it from the beginning. I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. I'm just not. I still don't think he's that good. And now going into his second year, we know there's that sophomore slump because now they got some more film on him, the regression. I don't know. I'm just he's really a guy that's going to have to prove it to me. And if he turns around and becomes a legit QB, then I'll turn around in 2 years and be like, I was wrong about him. But right now, I mean, I'm not a Kyler Murray guy. I watch him play, and a lot of it is backyard ball. And when it comes down to playing good teams, when you have to beat the good teams late in the season to get those wins, to get into the playoffs, whatever it may be, I think that's where he's going to struggle because at that point, you can't just rely on your athleticism. Eventually, you're going to have to stand in the pocket and deliver the ball downfield. And now, granted, he's got two of the best wide receivers in the league to do that too, that are super rangy, tall, hands like glue. But you still got to put the ball somewhat near them and not get him killed. So he's got to, at least for me, he's got to show me a little more than what I saw out of him last year. Because, I mean, granted, he wasn't Lamar Jackson where he was doing it all with his feet, but a lot of it was generated with his feet. So I need to see more out of him before I'm willing to put. And not only that, I don't think Arizona I feel like even adding a seventh team, you're probably going to need 10 wins. I don't see them getting 10 wins coming out of your division because they got to play you guys twice. Like both of you twice. They can easily lose all of those. So they can literally go 0-4 against you guys alone. And now they've already got 4 losses. I would only give them 2 for the rest of the friggin' 12 games they got to play. I feel like you're still going to need 10 wins even to get that 7th spot. And it's really, really hard to put 3 teams into the playoffs in one division. So I don't think I'd put them in yet.
The only thing about it is the fact that I think what helps them is the fact that the South is basically in a down era, a down period. The North and the East are notorious for beating each other. Like those teams will split with each other all year, all season long. So, like, I think it'll come down to heads-up matchup, and I think a lot of the heads-up matchup that I think because we got the NFC East and the AFC, I think NFC East, AFC East this year. So a lot of those teams we can win, or they can win. Like
who are your other playoff teams?
The Redskins. I can see Arizona beating Philly. I can see Arizona. Like I'm talking about like right now.
All right, so who's your other ones then? You had your 4 divisional winners and the Cardinals.
So
Who are the other 2?
Seattle. Seattle gets in.
Okay.
Because I think I have San Fran as a 12-win team.
And that leaves one more. So who's the other one?
You going to disrespect Tom Brady like that?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
I actually think I think Tampa Bay can get in the playoffs. I think they could be a 10-win team.
To me, it depends on if they can keep Tom Brady upright. When you got a guy like Jameis Winston that is an athletic QB and he gets hit 46 times, and then you throw Tom Brady's old gimpy butt back there, I don't think so. I don't know.
Here's the issue with that.
Arians style offense is nowhere near Belichick style.
Here's where stats can lie to you, Jonesy. He got hit 47 times. He got sacked a shitload, right? 85% of those is because he had the ball in his hand for more than 3.1 seconds. Brady's not going to hold it. He'll get rid of the ball. So he's not going to be taking those hits. He'll diagnose the play way faster than Jameis Winston, and he'll hit his dump off, his quick slant, his guy. He won't be taking those amount of shots because of his experience and how smart he is. He's going to get rid of it quick. Winston won't, What?
Bucks have to do 2 things to help Brady out, and then I guarantee you they win 10 wins. They got to draft an O-line to help protect him, help solidify that, right? And then they get another running back.
Yeah.
They get another running back, a quick guy, scat back, third down back who catches the ball well.
Who's
that
their
team
starter
wins 10
now?
wins.
Ronald Jones.
Good kid out of USC.
Yeah, Ronald Jones the second.
Yeah.
Running back.
So
Okay.
if they take an O lineman with their first pick, and then they find a scat guy out of somewhere.
The funny thing is that guy Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin isn't projected to be in the first round.
Yeah, I don't think no. I was actually just thinking that
with is shocking because like for a long time he was like the number 1 running back in the country, and he's not going to be in the first round.
Top running backs this year. Huh.
Yeah, I think the highest. Actually, I want to say there are no running backs this year in the first round. I'm talking about out of LSU.
The one guy I saw possibly going in the first round was Swift, and it was at the very end in a couple drafts.
Yeah, from Georgia.
Yep, DeAndre Swift. I think he's the only one.
But which is funny. But I like. So everyone's scared of Taylor because he carried the ball almost 1,000 times in college. It said he's already fucking used up.
Nah.
I'm just saying that's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, in that case, that I don't know. I doubt that.
I mean, shit, how's that any different than fucking Ezekiel Elliott? I feel like he carried the ball every fucking play at Ohio State.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, to me,
Taylor didn't take hits though.
But and another thing is like it's rare it's like what NFL team actually runs a workhorse running back now?
Yeah, very.
It took
everywhere's a 1-2
punch. To realize they could actually do it with Derrick Henry, and they didn't need the other guy. But everyone runs by committee now. I mean, San Fran is leading the charge with it. We got 4 running backs we use. I mean,
all of them are good. All of them are good too.
Yeah, I mean, but I think this Jonathan Taylor kid is going to be good. I mean, Wisconsin, I think, runs a zone blocking scheme.
Yeah,
so he knows how to be patient in the hole, find cutback lane.
And he ran that great 40.
Yeah. So I know originally he was projected to go to Tennessee, and they were talking about letting Derrick Henry walk and just getting his replacement. But then all of a sudden, like, he fell out. Like, now I think they got Tennessee drafting a DB or something like that.
You know what they should do is go pick up Devontae Freeman.
Who? Tennessee?
Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay needs a running back. Why not go get Devontae Freeman? He's still a free agent. He hasn't signed with anybody. Why not?
I think that'd be good for that. They just need to get another guy.
Yep.
Yeah. I think they get those 2 things, and then their offense is pretty tight.
I got a list. Lamar Miller is available as well.
Lamar Miller would be a better pick. I don't know if Tampa Bay's offensive line in the run game would benefit Devontae Freeman. I don't think they would make holes for that guy.
You really think the Cardinals are going to win more games than Tampa Bay? You're on crack, Jonesy.
No, I'm not. I mean, actually, I do.
You are crazy.
I do. You can say what you want. I do. I think just for Kyler
I actually have
Murray.
you know, it's funny, Scott. I have the capability. I can actually mute him. I do. I'm looking at this thing. I was like, I can. What show is that? But the guy's like, nope, mute.
Hey,
No,
you probably would have muted me last year for saying San Fran was going to win the division last year. But I'm telling you, like, when you watch Arizona, like, for example, San Fran lost to the Falcons. Arizona blew the Falcons out. I mean, Kyler Murray's escapability. And the thing is, I understand what Dave is saying. I mean, yeah, he's got to become a pocket passer. But let's be real. I mean, they're below average, Arizona's offensive line. I'm not going to say they're trash, but they're not.
I mean, yeah, their first pick, they have to take an O-line for their first pick because they're set on offense. They don't have huge holes on defense. And where are they picking? What are they picking at again?
I think 9th. I think they're supposed to be getting worse. Either the tackle out of Iowa or probably the Louisville tackle.
Okay.
The monster.
Yeah. Right now they got the Iowa tackle.
Yeah, like worse. So, like, they're looking at it. They're gonna shore it up. And I want to say they picked up an O-lineman in free agency.
Well, yeah, I gave my 4 division winners, but I didn't give the 3 that I have getting in on top of that. Tampa Bay is 1, Seattle's the other, and then I'm gonna go a little crazy right here, and I'm actually gonna say Washington.
See, so I struggled with grading Washington out. I like Ron Rivera.
Uh-huh.
I think Dwayne Haskins is boo-boo.
Oh, he's trash, but I think
he's trash garbage with
Alex
any
Smith
system.
is supposed to be back. So
yeah,
with Alex Smith at the helm, and they're gonna get Chase Young. So
are they though? They might. I heard the rumors they were trying to trade out of the number 2 spot.
They would be morons to do that and not take Chase Young, who, if you believe the hype, which I mean I'm on it right now, you know, is a generational kind of friggin' player. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. You get him and Sweat on the other side, and you got Jack Del Rio in there to coach the defense. I don't know. I think they can be a 10-win team. And
would they have the receiver though?
The thing that's going to help them as well is their schedule is a little easier this year. You know, the good thing about them finishing as bad as they did is they play obviously the divisional games, and then their crossover games are against the worst teams in the other divisions. So that's going to be a big plus for them. So I think they would be able to squeak 9-10 wins out of there, because I think Philly is going to regress big time. Philly lost a ton of people in free agency, and they only picked up one person that I was legit like, damn, that guy's really good. Everybody else, I was just like, eh. Let's see, who did they got?
Washington's defense is going to be nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if they get, yeah. But they have no receivers. They have no skill guys.
That's what I'm saying. Who's there going to be receivers?
They got no
They
one.
let Reed go. Vernon Davis retired. I think Crowder is gone.
Yeah.
They also got Hargrave added to that defense too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see their offense being super productive, but their defense is going to be nice.
But you know what? They I don't know. We're gonna have to see what they do in the draft, because maybe that's what they'll address.
Yeah.
Because they always could do that. You know, they could address those issues in the draft. I mean, especially you're looking at, they've got a bunch of draft picks. So the one thing that'll help them is picking low too. So when they come around their second time picking, they can pick up one of those top friggin', a top 5 wide receiver. So
no, there's a lot of guys. I mean, I just, as of right now, pre-draft, their offense doesn't look like it can do anything.
Who is their starting wide receivers?
Terry McLaurin.
Oh,
Steve
McLaurin was
Sims
actually
Jr.,
good last year.
Yeah.
and then Trey Quinn.
Okay, so they got McLaurin, and then they need to help him.
Yeah, they need a tight end, and then unless they believe in Darius Juice, or he's going to tear his ACL again.
No, he's done. I don't think you can. The guy's he's going into his 4th season, and he's had two.
This will be his 3rd season, 2nd or 3rd season, I think.
Oh,
2nd or 3rd. It's not 4th. Not 4th.
All right, then it's 3rd because I know he blew his knee out twice already.
Yeah.
But he came back at the end of last year, right? Didn't he get to play some games and actually play pretty well?
Yeah. But it was junk games.
And the biggest thing that's going to help them is their coaching. You know, they can bring in some mid-level type guys in free agency and in the draft, and because they do have very, very good coaches, I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be better than Philly. I've got them ahead of Philly. I think Philly's on their regression now. And they lost, Malcolm Jenkins. They lost Kruger Hill. They lost Vitae, Jernigan.
Yeah, you're right.
They lost a shitload of people. Like Philly needs to hit the draft hard. And Nick Foles ain't coming around to friggin' save him. And Carson Wentz is. I think you're finally, guys are finally seeing who he is. Where, he'll put up super gaudy numbers against bullshit teams, and then just shit the bed against really good ones. So that's why I said I think Dallas, for the first time in a while, should win this division, and it shouldn't be one of these races down to the friggin' wire. Like they should win this division pretty handedly. And the one thing I gotta say, at least with the Cowboys, the past couple of years, we only had one divisional loss last year. We were undefeated against the division the year before that. So, we've actually been playing our division pretty well. So, this is the first time in a very, very long time that I'm like, I think the Cowboys are actually going to win the East. And we'll go to the playoffs and probably get knocked out in friggin' the 1st or 2nd round, because if I don't get something to happen here, if I do draft Xavier McKinney and I have Clinton Dix, I think my safeties will be okay. I think with Gerald McCoy and
he is going to play so well for y'all.
Yeah, and getting Dontario Poe.
Yep.
My D tackles are good. I've already had 2 good D ends to begin with Lawrence and Gregory, and now my linebackers with Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, and Joe Wilson. And I've got safeties with Xavier McKinney and Clinton Dix. If I could get 2 freaking corners that are better than parking cones, I'll be okay. But
so I'm gonna make an audible here, guys. I am gonna take I think I had the Eagles going to the playoffs. I'm taking them, and I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in this, and I'm gonna go with the Bears. And I say it's the Bears because Trubisky gets benched midway through the season. Nick Foles saves the day.
Okay. All right. You know what? I don't even think it's been midway through the season. I think Foles might be the starter coming out.
Yeah, I think if Foles is the starter, they got a hell of a lot of talent.
Oh, they do.
And their defense is stupid.
They've got a great running back who, for some reason, they don't use the way they should. Yep.
Yeah. No, I think they got all the pieces, and their offense, when you look at their players, is very similar to when Nick Foles won.
Okay.
So
what
it
about
fits them. You got Nagy. He's got a great offensive mind.
That's what I was saying. What about Nagy, the coach?
I think he's run the ball more.
I think he's a better offensive coordinator than head coach. I think if he tries to do both, he can't.
Okay. All right. Well, I like it. It's good stuff. This video is like an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I need to go eat.
Yeah. Yep. Nobody's gonna watch us at that line.
So you got to put in installments. Part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
Part 3.
It's all good though, and I like it. All good things to think about too. That friggin', you brought up that I didn't even friggin' think about half that shit. I forgot that Foles even went to Chicago.
And they gave him money that's competing money. They didn't give him backup money. You know what I'm saying? So
he'll wind up being the starter.
And where did
Wouldn't
Leonard
surprise me.
Floyd go to?
Who?
They lost
Oh.
Leonard Floyd though. Where did he go?
Leonard Floyd.
Yeah,
I've actually
I
got.
can't remember.
I got the list right here.
that was the only move that they had made in the offseason I did not understand. I didn't agree with. Like, why you let Leonard Floyd go?
They signed someone else though, didn't they?
Yeah, Robert Quinn.
Leonard Floyd went to the Rams.
That's right.
So basically, it was like a 1-for-1 swap. Like Leonard Floyd went to the Rams, and then Quinn came to the Bears. Which, I mean, to me, Quinn, you might get a better pass rusher with Quinn, but you lose that balance against the run.
Yeah, but Roquan Smith is retarded good, so he's gonna make up for it.
Yeah,
He is really good.
if he,
I love
he
him
stays
a lot.
healthy.
I'm
That's the
I'm
thing.
huge on him though.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm huge on him."
I mean, I liked him. I definitely did.
But you know what though? The other thing you can't forget. I mean, yeah, they did lose him, but they picked up him and they fucking stole Robert Quinn from me. So
Okay. Yeah,
the Bears got him too. So
Got who?
Robert
That's
Quinn.
what I was saying. Robert Quinn came to the Bears, but I think it was a knee-jerk reaction because they let Leonard Floyd walk.
If I could have afforded Quinn, we would have kept him because he's good. But couldn't keep them all. I'm just glad we didn't pay Byron Jones $80 million.
Oh my God! Right?
Two of the most bonehead moves
real quick,
all years. The Dolphins, although the Dolphins did pick up a lot of guys on defense. The Dolphins defense might be very good this year.
I was gonna say, who do you think is gonna win the AFC East?
Probably Buffalo. That'll be for another video, but knee-jerk reaction right off the top of my head, I'd probably go with Buffalo.
I agree. I like Josh Allen.
Me too. Yeah, he's kicking.
Like Josh Allen. Buffalo's defense is only going to get better.
Yeah.
They got that fucking 21-year-old playing middle linebacker.
Yeah.
And he's a freak.
And you know what? I don't even want to count New England out yet. I just need to see who their starting quarterback's going to be. Let's wait and see who that is.
Jared Stidham.
We go, yeah.
Jared Stidham.
Yep.
And you know he's been sitting behind Brady with Belichick in his ear. So.
And they still have whatever his name, their offensive coordinator too. So.
Yeah. Oh, McDaniel.
Well, if he's smart, he'll never ever leave because we saw that happen once and he failed miserably. I was like, I'm going back to New England. Screw this. It's hard out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Hey, how you think Aldon Smith? You think Aldon Smith makes the cut?
He's been out of the league 4 freaking years, man. It's hard to do.
Hey, man, he can smoke weed now. It's legal.
That's why I said somebody call Josh Gordon right now.
Well, he's getting reinstated too. I think. I think they're all going to get reinstated.
Like the Cowboys did with Randy Gregory. He got suspended the same thing, indefinitely for weed, and he just applied for reinstatement. So I'll be getting him back at the end too. And that kid was a absolute freak when he was on the field. We just couldn't keep him on the field because he's like, I'm gonna go home and smoke. I'll see you later.
Yeah, same thing with Aldon Smith. That man.
Don't if I get the
1.5 sacks away from breaking the record and out of the league.
If I get the Aldon Smith you guys had, oh my God, I'll be ecstatic. But I don't know if he's gonna be that guy 4 years later. But he's still pretty young, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm saying he got plenty of trade. And he's been taking those hits, those cut shots.
Yeah.
The only thing is if his work ethic is good enough for him to actually get into football playing shape, that'll be a nasty rotational player, if not starter for you guys.
Can I get some corners? Somebody want to give up? Somebody call fucking, I don't know, the Cardinals for Peterson. I need him.
Josh Norman signed with Buffalo too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Trash.
He's been getting shipped around now, though. So
he's paid $6 million for trash.
So I mean, hey, nothing is worse than what fucking the Texans did. I mean, they literally were like, "We're gonna give you arguably the best wide receiver in the league for that backup broken running back you got over there. That dude right there will take it."
Round pick.
They were
and
like,
they gave up a second round pick for Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Brandon Cook's contract is massive. It's like a 5-year, $80 million contract.
But you know what? That whole you got to remember that whole experiment that the Rams did 2 years ago, where they picked up everybody. Like we're this is our Super Bowl team. If it doesn't work, we're screwed in 2 years because we can't afford anybody. Well, it's 2 years later. It didn't work, and now they can't keep anybody. So now all those guys are jetting. So the Rams are going to be in serious. You talk about a team in decline, they're probably going to fucking fall way off. Couldn't afford to keep anybody. I almost got a ring out of it. Almost.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Till next time, we'll set up the next meeting in a couple of days.
All right, bet.
All right, y'all.
And I'll try and post this. Good shit.
All right.
Take it easy, fellas.
Later.
Yep. You too.